welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today we're looking at Kindest Gnomes. I absolutely adore gnomes. I know that they're not everybody's favourite, but they're definitely mine. And they're in the new mini catalogue, which runs from July to December 2022. And on page 42 and 43, you have Storybook Gnomes. You can buy it as a complete suite, so if you love absolutely everything, you can get the whole lot just under one code. Or you can get the stamp set on its own. You can get the stamp set and dies. You can buy them both as a bundle and you save 10%. And then you can get all of the other little bits and pieces in there. There's a lovely paper, which I am going to get later on in the year. Not getting it just at the moment because I'm not quite ready for Christmas, even though it's Christmas in July and all of those things. I don't do Christmas when it's this warm. But I love using them for other things. So that's what we're using. And you're only going to use the dies for cutting them out, but if I show you the dies, I have put them on a little bit of a sheet. I've run out of my magnetic sheets, which I tend to put everything on, but you have all of the outlines. You can actually make your own gnome, which is rather fun, and I will show you how to do that later on. You can make little toadstools, which are great, and then you've got the outlines for all of the images on here to basically die cut out. So if you're somebody who doesn't like fussy cutting, worth getting. If you don't mind fussy cutting, maybe not. I just did because it saves a little bit of time. But we're working on these today, and I thought I've done a few with or I've got a few coming up using the gnomes, but I thought I would show you how to mix and match in colouring. So we don't always have absolutely everything, and this is a way of being able to use various different mediums to colour together, and they work. So I know that there's quite a few of you that have asked for some colouring videos, and you know, I'm no expert by any means, but I do enjoy. I'm going to put it this way, I think, so there's a little bit more room on there. So that's the little girl, and my chamois. And then I'm going to have the little boy as well, and I'm going to have the ones that are standing up. So there's different ones, but I think that these will work quite well. Now you'll notice that I'm taking my memento to it, only because it's fairly fine detailing and I want it all to come out. So put this one on here, and that's him. So we've got two sweet little gnomes, and as I've said to you before, in the UK we have gnomes that we put in the garden. So you can get them there, you can get plastic ones, you can get sort of china ones, and you put them in the garden in between the plants, and they're rather fun. Some people have whole gardens just full of gnomes with little wheelbarrows and things like that, so it's quite fun. Okay, so now we've got those done, we are going to be doing some colouring, but we're using a variety of mediums. So I want to use this as my background, so I want Melon Mambo, and I haven't got a Melon Mambo blend, but I'm going to use the inks for it. And I'm also using another one for Orchid Oasis. So again, we're using a variety of mediums. So let's start off with doing the hats. So as I said, I haven't got Melon Mambo, sorry, I haven't got blends of these colours, but I have got the ink pads. So what I'm going to do is just literally put a bit of colour in on the corner and use your Aqua Painter or can't remember what the new ones are called, and literally just pick up some colour. And we're not using watercolour paper, but you don't need to if you're doing it quite quickly. So if you're using a large area and a lot of water and blending a lot in, then you might not want to do it unless it's on watercolour paper, but with this you can quite easily. So I'm just very carefully going round, and then I'm bringing it up, picking up some colour as I'm going so I can make it darker. And you can see I'm going back over myself a little bit because I want to make sure that it's as dark as possible. So keep picking up the colour and then just keep going over very gently. You don't need a lot of water in your Aqua Painter, but if you just keep going across quite carefully, just picking up the colour as you go, going back over, you can then make sure that you're not getting the paper to pill. And you can see I'm hardly touching the paper. I'm doing it very, very gently, and that way you ensure that you're not taking it doesn't pill. So I could even get it a little bit darker in here on the middle. But you can see I'm hardly touching the paper, or I hope you can see I'm hardly touching the paper, literally just a little tiny bit. So that's one of the hats done. Then I just have a piece of kitchen roll and we'll just clean my brush off that way until it runs clear, and then I can just literally just wipe that off. Okay, so let's do the other one while we're at it, and it gives a chance for that one to dry a little bit. So again, this is the Melon Mambo, just a little bit in on the corner. And again, exactly the same thing, just pick up a little bit and start in on the bottom here. And just very carefully just bring it up. And I tend to do from the bottom up because that works for me, but you can start from the top if you want. You just want to make sure that you're pushing your colour up so it keeps it nice and dark, because we want it as dark as we can get it, so that it's exactly the same as if we had the blends. And we do lots and lots of blends which are alcohol markers, which are fantastic, and we're going to be using some of them, but we don't do all of the colours, and not everybody has all of them, the same as me. I don't have all of them, and some of them I've used so much that they've run out and I haven't replaced them. So if I'm wanting to do something where I want the colour to match perfectly, it's an easy way of doing it, and you don't have to worry overly. You can see I'm going back over it again, just very gentle, tiny little strokes. As I say, I'm hardly touching the cardstock at all. I'm literally just doing it as gently as I can, because as I say, I don't want it to pill. I've used Versamark because we are using alcohol markers as well. But again, if it's dried and you haven't oversaturated the paper, you don't get bleeding and it works absolutely fine. So again, I'm just adding more colour onto this as we go up so I can get it fairly uniform. And just keep picking it up as we go. There we are. So those are the two hats, and you see how beautifully dark they are, which is lovely. So I can then just clean my brush off again till it goes clear, and just clean this off the block. I normally run my blocks under the tap because then it gets all of the colour, because they are perfect as palettes, they really are. They work really well. Put my lid back on here. Okay, so now we can use some blends, and we've got lots of different skin tone ones. Use whatever you've got. I'm using some that I've had a little while, so they're not the skin tone ones, but again, oops, just pulled my middle out of it. Let's do it on this side. So I am just going to do his little nose, and I come down just over his face a little bit and down, because I think when somebody's got a beard, the face does sort of go into the beard a bit. So we'll do both of them at the same time. So nose, down on her little face. Okay, so that's the pale one. Oh, and I'm going to do the hands as well. So this is using the blends. And then I've got the dark just to do on the nose. See if I can get the other side out. Yep, so just want the nose to be a little bit darker. So I'm just giving the nose a bit of a extra, and that's with the blends. Then I've got, so this is the blends as well, and I'm doing the, let's have the little trousers in on here, and this is in the Mossy Meadow, in the light, because I didn't want it in the dark. So those are sort of the trouser bits on there, and we'll have his top in on this one. So do it the other way around. I do enjoy doing the colouring. I know they're little tiny bits, and I think we'll have his little boots as well in green. So those are his little boots. Okay, now I'm going to do the hair. Now the hair, I have got an old one and another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix and match. So this is the yellow that I've got, and I'm going to take it all the way down for her hair. Just colour that through. Now we've got a little hairband bit at the bottom, so I want to leave that. That. So that's her hair, and then I want to do a bit of dark highlighting. So I've actually got our marker pens, and I'm just going to just take some of the colours in on here to just give a bit of highlighting, because I haven't got the dark. But you can see that you can do it over the top quite well, and it'll just add a little bit of highlighting in on there, which works perfectly. Might just have a little bit up round on there. That's given her hair a little bit of extra dimension. So as I say, you know, we've mixed and matched in there. And now I am going to, because I've just realised what I should have done is, we're just going to take just a tiny little bit of here, because I want to make her little top is going to come in on the pink. And this time I'm making it just a little bit paler, so it's not quite as bright as the hat. And a little shirt. And a little sort of aprony thing, which you could do in a different colour. Just a little bit more on here. And we'll have her little shoes can be pink. So we'll do around on here, which is good. Oh, and the hairband bottom of here, so that can come in on pink. Okay, I think that's her done. And then we can have the little bit of the other one, which is the Orchid Oasis, to just do his little trousers. So I'm just going to pop that in for the little trousers. But you can see you can quite easily mix and match. I think we sometimes get convinced that we can only use one medium at a time, whereas in fact you can mix and match things quite well, and they work perfectly. You know, you just have to be a little bit careful to not overload, but it does mean that it's really quite easy to do. So there we have coloured gnomes in several different mediums. Now, of course, you can do it with whatever you're doing. You don't have to do it just with the gnomes. You can do it with your flowers. You can do it with any stamps that you've got, really. And then what I have done is we need to then take the dies. So let's grab the dies. Hope I didn't knock the camera. I've got it quite low so you could see the colouring. Let's take, so we've got this long one and we've got this long one. So these are our two little characters. So we can put those on and the dies fit really nicely. And I've just got a little bit of tape to just put on there so that they stay in place. This one in on here. Take another little bit of tape, just go in on there, like that. Then I can get my die cutting machine out, which is just here. So hopefully you can just about see it on there. Yes, you can. Now I tend to, rather than put them in that way so you've got such a big surface area, I'm going to put them in this way. So put them that way, smaller surface area. It's easier for the machine to work. So just take it straight through and then bring it back. Okay, now I can just take those off. My die cutting machine away. You can see it's well used. I use my plates till they're actually had it, and then our new machine and our new plates work exactly the same because it's the same size machine, so you can again mix and match. So let's take these off very carefully. This is a piece of tape that I've used a lot, so it's not overly sticky. Just stick it back on my thing. So that's one little guy, and that's the little girl. Just peel it back. If you peel it back on itself, it works really well, which is good. I can go back on there, and we've now got our two little characters out. So you can see how easy it is to just run them through the die cutting machine instead of doing putting them or fussy cutting them out. So, you know, if you're not a fan of fussy cutting, or you're doing lots, which with these gnomes I am doing lots, it's easier to do it that way. So those are our two gnomes. So let's put the card. Now what I've done is, this is the paper from, so I've always say to you, I cut out the backs of mine so I can use for other things. This is from the scalloped dies. It's about the second, third one down. And then this fits in perfectly. Now I've done this, I'll give you the size of this. It is 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. So 4 inches by 2 3/4, and it fits perfectly just in on there. So it gives you your nice border. So I'm going to pop that in, and the paper is the free paper from the celebration, which is Wonderful World. It's a papers and stamp set, so it's a double, like a bundle, and you get it free with a qualifying order of £90. So if you get this bundle and some cardstock to go with it, you're just about there, and you can get this beautiful papers, really love them, completely for free. So we're going to put this one in on here, and I think I'm just going to put it absolutely straight. I don't need that up with dimensionals, so let's just pop this one on here. Make sure we've got our flowers growing upwards. Pop that in centered-ish. Then we've got our little girl, and you can see how it matches absolutely perfectly. So we need to get some dimensionals out on both of these, which are in my little drawer. Oops. There we go. So let's get some dimensionals out. And I think I've got my, here we go, what large dimensionals for this. So we'll have one in up at the top and one in the middle down the bottom. Do the same for the other one. So we've got the two cards. And as I've said, you can do this mixing and matching with anything you want, really. I just, as I say, I am enjoying using these gnomes, and I think she's lovely. So she's going to sit down here at the bottom like that. And then let's get the little boy. And again, 4 inches by 2 3/4. Pop this one in on here. And then we can put this one in like that. Really like these because you get beautiful scallops coming through on here. That's going to be just stuck in. And this Orchid Oasis is a really lovely blue. It's a sort of a, I don't know, forget-me-not type blue. It's a beautiful blue, and it goes perfectly with these papers, which is why the coordination is such a big thing with Stampin' Up. You know, we have beautiful, beautiful coordination for everything. So I'm going to stick him again down in on the bottom, like that. And then you've got room for whatever sentiment you want. So if I look at this one, which is the Kindest Gnomes, we've got your kindness does not go unnoticed. You've got you know me so well, and you've got warm wishes, all of which aren't Christmassy, or you could put the Merry Christmas if you wanted to turn it into a Christmas one. So I'm not going to put any on at the moment. I will before I post the thing, but I just wanted to show you that you can colour and mix and match. So we've used watercolours with our two colours. So we've used inks and watercolour, you know, Aqua Painters. We've used our standard Stampin' Right markers with alcohol blends, and we've just used blends on its own. So we've used 3 different things on one image, and it's all worked. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, please stay safe and well, please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.